Good Erev Shabbos. This week's Parsha opens up with the famous mitzvah to conduct a census. This census was unusual in the way it was conducted. Every single individual contributed a half shekel, and any individual that was eligible to be counted. And based on the number of half shekels that were contributed, that's how Moshe knew how many people were counted. But I just want to focus on one angle of this section of the Parsha, which says, Kisisa, Esrol Shbnei Yisrael of Kudehem. The word Kisisa, the Mefarshim, the biblical commentators point out, it should have said Kitispor, you shall count. What's this expression, Kitisa? This is not the normal expression of counting. So there's this idea that the census that was done in the times of the Midbar, when the Jewish people were traveling through, was not the reason why we have a census in our times. What's the reason why we have a census done in our times? The reason why we have a census done in our times is just basically, every 10 years, at least in the United States, we have a census done to basically how should we allocate resources. Every 10 years, how to have the infrastructure set up, how many parks to have in the neighborhood, how much hospitals to have in the neighborhood. So what's in terms of the electric grid? Is the electric grid is there enough electricity in the neighborhood? Populations shift over time, and we want to make sure there's enough resources in the neighborhoods for the population, because population shifts over time. So every 10 years, the government wants to assess this and evaluate and make sure there's enough of a proper, appropriate allocation of resources. But the reason why that's not the reason why the census was done in the times of the Midbar. The reason why the census was done in the Midbar was for an entirely different reason. And that comes down to the word kisisa, and not rather kitispor. Kisisa means the shorish, the root word of kisisa is sa, which means lift up, lift up. Kisisa, every person being counted means every person was being lifted up to let everybody know this integral and fundamental idea, which is that every single person counts. Sometimes in a larger tzibur, in a larger group, in a larger community, a larger kahila, and a larger mass of people, sometimes a person thinks to themselves, what does it really matter, what contribution I make? What does it really matter, if I really participate? What does it really matter if I really attend a minyan? What does it really matter if I contribute to tzedakah? There's so many other people around. There's so many other people that are involved. There's so many other people that are here. What does it matter if I do so? So the idea of the census was down to the very, very last person. Every single person counts. We would not be the same Klal Yisrael. We would not be the same nation if we had one less person. One less person. We are the finest nation because we have each and every single one of you. And if we had one less person, we'd be that less of a people. And that's the idea of kisisa. So we may not have the biblical census anymore, but the message is still relevant and compelling to internalize this idea that every single person should try to make themselves feel that we are worthy and relevant, and try to make somebody else feel that we're worthy or relevant, and never try to dismiss yourself as unworthy, or as your actions or your involvement as unbecoming. So as we go through this very interesting parsha, let's take a pause at the very first words of this parsha, rather the name of the parsha itself, Kisisa, to remember that each and every single member of Klal Yisrael is valuable and makes a world of difference. Wish you all a good Erev Shabbos.